Hello everyone, my name is Trevor, I go by TheMrTrails, welcome to the channel. Today's video contains content that is not currently in the game of Dauntless, but is not under non-disclosure agreement. This content may change before it gets into the live version of the game, and this is all done on a testing server. Consider this your spoiler warning. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to some more Frost Escalation Early Access coverage. So today's video is just going to be a bit of live commentary going over this escalation run that I had. And what we are going to be exploring is whether or not it's going to be worth it to run a wound build as opposed to a purely flawless build or a crit build for this escalation. So to sort of help explain the reasoning why I would say wounding is worth building for in this escalation, we have to explain how the amp selection will work. Now we see at the top of the screen here that we have Linnea's boon of the Warden Mender active, and whatever this boon is going to dictate what amp selection we have at the end of this round. And because of how this works, you're most commonly going to get either really good amps or really bad amps. And you can see at the end of the round here, we have Force, Shield Sphere, Healing Stream, and Elemental Form Radiant. These aren't very good amps if you are going for fast escalation runs. And where some of this bad amp RNG gets made up for is in the Escalation talent tree. And specifically what we're looking at here is with the aspect of the Scout passive. So if you take the aspect of the Scout passive from your Escalation talent tree, when a behemoth part is wounded, gain 2% increased damage for the remainder of the escalation. This increases to 4% if you are the Avatar of Subtlety. And as we will see in the video, being the Avatar of Subtlety makes wounding things really easy. But to give you some damage numbers context, 4% per wound would be 5 wounds is 20% damage. That's basically a Berserker 3. So this is the build that I ended up running in this escalation, I believe. We have 6 Catalyst, 6 Cunning, 6 Overpower, 6 Rage, 6 Savagery, 3 Acidic, 3 Discipline, but what ended up happening on the test server is we couldn't power surge stuff, so I was actually at 5 Overpower, 4 Cunning instead of 6 of both of those. And you'll notice that I was running this Acid Savagery setup on Chain Blades, and we will see why momentarily. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into this escalation run here. The reason I would build for wound damage on any weapon is because you've got a couple of great damage sources that can take advantage of that, because you've got Savagery, which is plus 100% damage, and you've got the aspect of the Scout passive, which can very easily get over to 100% damage. And you'll get those wounds rather quickly because you've got Acidic, which is 50% part conversion to wound damage, and you've got the Avatar of Subtlety, which is an extra 50% wound damage, and you've got your Catalyst Wound Tonic, which at Catalyst 6 and your maxed out Slayer's Path, that'll be around 70+% wound damage on there as well. So we get Boon of the Warden Mender on round 1. Not particularly ideal. Ideally what you would get is 1 round of Boon of the Warden Scout, so you can grab Go Time. And then the other rounds are Boon of the Warden Warrior, so you can grab all of the good damaging amps. And you can see we're Bullying Strike right here, getting all of the wounds right now. We've got all 6 wounds on the Strike, and it's already dead. And those 6 wounds already give us 24% damage, and that's before we grab our amp, which is pretty good. That's better than you can get out of most escalations. But you can see here we've got a very poor amp selection, so we have to go with 2% bonus damage. Not very good. 2% not particularly good, especially when you are going for fast kills. And if I wasn't going for just pure raw damage, then I would have definitely chosen one of the other ones. But we got Boon of the Warden Scout this round, so we will get Go Time at the end of the round. We've got Frost Gnasher, and we've got Koshai here. Honestly, this could be a pretty annoying combination for a lot of people, actually. You see, I just like, nah, dude, let me just play this one safe. So Boon of the Warden Scout is the weak spot one. It looks like you can only get one weak spot, like, between the two behemoths even. So I have to kill Nasher first, and you can see we don't even have a weak spot on Koshai yet. And then the rest of this round is going to take a little bit longer because I do not repot here. And those wounds are going to come a little bit slower than they would normally because we're not having that Catalyst Wound Tonic. But you can see I still get them because I have Acidic and the Avatar of Subtlety. Hello there, Simba. And then I get the last wound on Koshai here, deliver the finishing blow, and we've already got 17 wounds from the first 3 behemoths, which is a really, really good number. I think that's the best number that I got out of any of the runs exiting round 2, because I would usually get Frost Skarn or regular. I think I got regular Skarn on one run. But grab and go time here. Don't know why I was hesitating. Alright, so in this next one we get Boon of the Warden Defender. Again, not very ideal. Ideally, we want Boon of the Warden Warrior as much as we can, but we will have to deal with it. I think I do get one of my Avatar's amps after this round, so not all is lost here. And we're coming up on a Stormclaw here, and that's actually a pretty good behemoth pull as well in terms of going for wounds. Because you want ideally to get as many 6 wound behemoths as you can, or even more. So I do get sent into the air here. You can see Stormclaw is already enraged after only a very short combat time. We've already gotten down past below 25%. And then we are down to 50% here. We get the stagger right now. And then you can see I'm avoiding the danger zones on the ground. The danger zones are actually really strong in this escalation because they just bring your frostbite meter up and they sit on the ground there for like 20 seconds. So they're actually pretty dangerous, as the name would imply on this. But we've got all 6 wounds from that Stormclaw, so we've got 23 wounds total. And you see we grab Subtle Control. Honestly, not my favorite of the amps. I don't really like slowing effects, and every time you get a wound, you're going to slow the behemoth down. So we get Boon of the Warden Scout again here. Again, not great. I literally didn't get Boon of the Warden Warrior one time here, and that's where all of your damaging amps are in. So pretty unlucky, pretty unfortunate there. I think I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. But you can see we've got Quill Shot Rezakiri on round 4, and this is why Frostbite kind of starts becoming a problem, because Quill Shot and Rezakiri are not very good in terms of the wounds. So ideally you want to have as little Frost Skarn, regular Skarn, Quill Shot, Rezakiri in your runs as possible. Because Rezakiri, its tail can't be wounded, and then Quill Shot, you have to break the spikes to expose the parts that can be wounded. So same deal with Skarn. So these aren't very good behemoths when you're going for a wounding run, but it is what it is. We still get a pretty decent haul of wounds from these two. I believe I end up getting 8 from between these two, which is pretty decent. Maybe I don't. Maybe I only get 2 more from here, and that's one of them. So yeah, Rezakiri is just not a fun time for wounds either, especially with how small those 2 little legs are. I guess they are, you know, 2 extra parts to wound. But you can see here, I'm almost frostbitten, so I knew I had to get this stagger off real quick. And that, I don't know if that reduced my frostbite because of the stagger or if it was because I wounded the part I hit. But I believe part breaks also give you a frostbite reduction as well. So here, you should keep attacking the behemoths after they're dead if you don't have all of the wounds. I didn't do that here, but I could have gotten an extra 4 or 8% damage if I would have kept attacking that Rizikiri. But you can see that we have 29 wounds going into the final boss. That is 116% damage going into the final round, without ever getting, like, and the only other damage source that I got was 2% damage in round 1. So that's why wounding is pretty much the way to go here. If you get really unlucky with the boons like I did here, you still aren't getting, you aren't really losing out on the damage, because you built for wounds and you are building for the aspect of the scout passive. And we're getting into our final boss fight here. I didn't walk forward enough here to start off our fight. So our fight with Urska here, it goes pretty smoothly. Urska just moves a lot. We're still not sure if that's the finalized name for it yet, but it moves a lot. You can see some of it's just kind of senseless movement just for the sake of moving. So, and this is probably the fastest enraged that I've gotten on this final boss fight here. But you can see it's kind of hard sometimes even for chain blades to keep up with this behemoth, which probably one of my main gripes. Like, think about hammer, think about axe. It's not particularly easy to keep up with this guy, even with the chain blades, as you can see here. And I feel like that should have staggered. Got kind of scammed, if you ask me. But I'm looking at my frostbite. I'm thinking I should probably grab that brazier there. And then I would have had a full flawless escalation if not for getting hit right here. As you can see how close it was to getting staggered there. And then I just finish it off as usual. Now the one thing that building for wounds isn't going to let you do is break parts. And you can see I didn't break any of Urska's parts at the end here. So that's the one main thing that you'll have to think about. But you won't be able to really build for wounds using this passive until you've already gotten to like level 17 of the escalation or something like that. So on that note, I would say that you would probably want to use this wounding strategy after you've gotten most of your stuff out of Urska. But then after that, you can get a consistent, reliable damage source that can easily go over 100%, and that is something we haven't had in many other escalations. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like on the video, and if you enjoy Dauntless content and are not subscribed already, consider subscribing to the channel. Here I post Dauntless content every week, and I've been Trevor. I go by TheMrTrails, and we will catch you guys next time.